you're going to also be doing your landscaping. So I'll show you some of the things some of the guidelines that we follow, which are very important to maintain the waterproof of your house.
I see. Okay.
You know, and if you bring out a landscaper, see this white line down at the bottom of the black paper here?
Yeah.
Okay, that's called a screed. And anytime you have any kind of flat work or anything, you want to be 2 inches below that.
Okay.
And if you have some kind of softscape, grass, bushes, planters, you want to be 4 inches below that.
Oh, okay.
So if you bring out a landscaper, and if they don't even follow that simple rule, fire them on the spot because they don't know what they're doing.
All right.
Okay, so those are always important rules to follow.
Okay.
And I'll show you why as we kind of get in, because that right there, when this water comes down this lath paper, it channels towards that screed right there, and it's got weep holes underneath there.
Okay.
And if you have anything too close to that, the water will actually back up and come into your house.
I see.
So we're going to start in the garage.
Okay.
And again, I've kind of been through these a few times, so I may just start rambling things off and stuff like that. And if I'm going too fast, just stop me.
Sure.
You know, if you have a question or anything like that. I mean, the general idea is so I can kind of show you the stuff that you'll never see after you move in the house, so I can brag about some of our quality. So it's just bragging rights is all it is, okay? So I'm going to start right here. You won't see this in the models, okay? What this is a sub panel, okay? And the reason why it was never designed to be in here originally, but when I was building the models, we started putting a lot of options in the model, right? And we almost ran out of breaker space. We had so many options. I mean, with the
yeah.
My plumber's filling up the plumbing line and checking it out. Hey, Dave, can we find out what this is right here? I think he's filling up the plumbing line. Can we?
Nacho's working. They got a leak somewhere. He's working on it.
Well, I need to stop it while we're walking, please. And that's the other thing that we do. And don't worry about the water. It won't hurt the wood or anything. I mean, the bottom line is the wood. Wood is milled in water. Okay, you know, it just, when they mill it and they cut all this stuff, it's always got water and stuff in it. So it doesn't really hurt anything.
I was just going to say, like, from all the rain that's been going on, does it affect anything?
No, it really doesn't. Now we do kind of let it dry out a little bit if we get a good soaker.
Okay.
You know, like the last one that hit us, right? If it's like a quick rain, like, you know, like a thunderstorm type of thing, we don't really worry about it too much because it doesn't soak into the wood long enough for it to really. It's the long, continuous, non-stop, just pouring of the water. Like this right here, the plumber's going to have it cleaned up so fast it's not even going to have time to soak into the wood. You know, so I'm not really going to worry about it. And at this point in time, I still got a whole other house that I have to do a MEPS on. So, and what a MEPS is your final walk of the house before I even do any insulation or anything. So the water will be dried out and done before I even put insulation in this house. So, yeah, definitely. If this was drywalled and insulation and stuff, then yeah, we'd be ripping everything apart. Because the wood, like I said, wood is milled in water, so there's not even a problem with it.
With molding, it wouldn't have like.
Nah, and again, lumber has mold in it naturally. See, what people don't understand about mold, right, is mold is a natural substance. You just don't want to have something going on where it's continuing to grow, right? But as far as the staining, if you look at most lumber, well, for example, look at this one right here. Most people don't even realize this, but you see the dark staining on this?
Yeah.
That's mold in the wood. And I don't know if you've ever put plants or anything in your house. Your house plants have mold in it. Believe it or not. I mean, mold is part of any kind of a natural substance. Every natural substance has mold in it.
Okay.
You know, what it is you don't want this leak to be in here. Like, let's say, and it has to have something to feed on. So mold needs two things. It needs constant source of water and it needs a constant source of food. Like a plant, right? So wood or drywall or something like that, it can be a source of food, right? So if you constantly have water running inside somewhere, then it's a problem because then the mold can keep growing, right? But after something gets wet, it's dried out, stuff like that, then there's no issues with it. But what this black staining is, it's basically dead mold, is what it is. And that's actually inside the tree. When they open up the tree and they cut all the wood out of the tree, then they send it through. Well, have you ever seen TV where they're sending them down the river?
Yeah.
Well, that's how they're doing it. That's what I'm saying. Wood is made in water, you know, when they mill it. So people have a misconception about that, you know, and
It's a constant leak that's the problem.
it's a constant leak. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we'll kind of take our time so we don't get rained on as we're going in there. I apologize for that. Again, it's a quality thing that we're doing. We're making sure that we don't have a problem later on. So like I was saying, so this is a sub panel that gives you a few extra breaker spaces. And like I said, we almost ran out of room in the model. So that's the reason why I told them that we needed to add this. So everything that's in production has this sub breaker box now. This is your main one still on the outside, just like the model, but we just added this too.
I see.
You know, that way you don't have to worry about adding options and stuff later on. All right. So something else. Are you guys thinking about doing a water softener or anything like that?
Yeah, we do have one that we're gonna put in there.
Okay. Did you get that through us, or are you guys doing it after?
From our old house.
Okay, perfect. Well, so you know, we've already set the drain line here.
Oh, okay.
And it's already pre-plumbed all the way up to the laundry room. So I'll show you where that drains at, but that way you don't have to cut open a bunch of drywall to put this in.
Oh, nice.
The only thing you really need to do is you'll probably have to get an electrical outlet a little closer to this, which they could probably just do a jumper off right here. So a little bit of drywall, but nothing major, right? And this right here, we've already got this long neck right here where he can cut right into that, and that will feed right over.
Okay.
You know, so it's really pretty convenient to set one in here. You know, and this is kind of an ideal spot because this is a nice deep portion, so that's why we kind of chose this right here. And that way, you know, you pretty much have that open quite a bit there, and then you still have quite a bit of open space here for some shelves and stuff later.
Very cool.
Fire sprinkler box. Okay, now Shane's going to go over some of this. Some of this is going to be kind of redundant.
Okay.
Because he's going to go over some of this too. But the stuff that I'm going to be redundant about, believe me, I just really, really want you guys to be aware of it.
Yeah.
So, and he's going to go over it again. So this is the fire sprinkler line. Now, it's under constant pressure. As you can see, I got 150 in here right now. Okay. Now, this cannot be shut off with the house water.
Okay.
It bypasses the house water and it goes out to your main meter out here. Okay. Now the reason why I'm pointing this out is because you see this nice bright colored orange pipe? It's in your attic too, and you'll see it as we're walking up in there. So if you have any subcontractors like electricians or anything that's coming in to add things later on, tell them to be careful, don't step on this.
Okay.
As it's running through. As you can see, it's running all the way through here. You know, different various locations. So just something to be aware of. You know, and not, you know, step on it. And then at all our penetrations here, we're really good about putting these metal dotty plates here. Okay. Right? That way when we're hanging drywall or you're going to hang a picture later on, you'll notice that we have a lot of these throughout. We may be missing some, but we'll get them for our inspection.
Not going to screw into the...
Yeah. That way if somebody hits that, I can't go in there. Okay. There's no fear of hitting it.
I see.
Okay, but the main thing to remember, there's no way for me to protect it here.
Okay.
All right, so if you're hanging pictures and stuff, make sure you are using a stud finder and you're finding something solid to nail into, okay? All right, so some of the structural details of the house. These right here, this is kind of where I'm going to start bragging a little bit. Our houses are so engineered. Okay, this is a structural wall right here. Okay, you notice how some of these walls have this plywood right here?
Yeah.
That's a shear wall. And what a shear wall does is it's transferring weight from, everything's figured from the top roof down when you're figuring structural, not from the ground up.
Yeah.
Roof down, right? So basically, that's to help with the movement of the house and transferring load. Okay. But on a shear wall, when you get such a small area, you know, like these walls right here, you can't do a conventional shear like this. I see. Because it's not long enough or strong enough, not enough members nailed to it to really give it any kind of structural support. So that's the reason why Simpson came out with these guys. And these Simpson's one of the leading brands. I actually went to their factories. They're just awesome. So they got top-notch brand here. So basically, because this is so small right here, this is probably one of the strongest parts of the house right here. The bolts that are right here, it goes into the cement about that far.
Wow.
So it's a pretty substantial deal. But that being said, if you plan on nailing anything in here, it ain't going anywhere. So it's very, very strong and rigid, but it supports all this weight. See your big deck right here? That's helping support all that right there, that cantilever beam deck that's going out right there. So it's a very strong part of the house right there.
Earthquake height there.
Yep. Yeah, see the idea when we structurally do these, what the engineer does is we got to go with the strongest forces ever hit us. And I forget what earthquake that is. It's like 8.1 or something like that. It hit San Francisco or something, right?
Yeah.
Back in the 1980s or 70s or 1890s or whatever it was.
Long time ago.
So, and I had an engineer tell me this. So what they do is they go with the strongest seismic force that ever hit us, because that's all we have to calculate what's there, because we can't make stuff up, right? So they go with what's actually hit us. Now, when they do that, what they do is they design this. Doesn't mean the house isn't going to get damaged during an earthquake. That's not the ideal. The ideal is to keep it standing long enough for you to get out. Okay, it will stay standing most likely because they take it and they over-engineer it for that earthquake seismic zone, right? So they over-engineer it. So chances are it will be standing, but you're going to see damages, cracks, stuff like that. Thick walls may twist, stuff like that. If you get hit with a big enough earthquake, like an 8 point something, you know. So all that is factored into this. And like I said, these hold downs right here, all these are also, like that wall right there, they're about this deep in the concrete. So that was what actually ties, those are the main things that tie your framing down to the slab. So it's a pretty amazing thing, you know, on all this. And then I'm going to do one more thing with engineering, and then we're going to get into some more fun stuff of the house. So this slab right here, are you guys going to put it like a safe, or you think you're going to end up drilling anything into the concrete at all?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, like I know my dad, he has a big safe that he always takes from house to house, and it lags into the concrete.
Okay.
But the difference between his house, because it's a much older house, and this house, he doesn't have the post-tension cables in here. So you see this stamp right here? So if you do possibly plan on doing anything like that, let your contractor see this stamp right here.
Okay.
He should know what he's doing.
I see.
Basically what it is in this slab, we have these cables that we run all the way through this, and then they hang out. Right now they're off because we cut them, right? But they hang out for a little while, and then when the concrete cures enough, what we do is we come in and we take a machine and we stretch that cable. So this side is locked in place, and then we grab this side and we pull it like that. So it just takes that concrete and it goes, and it just pulls all that concrete together, right? But the problem is if you plan on chipping or doing anything like that, these cables are under stress, they're under pressure. So think of it like a bridge cable. If you cut that bridge cable, that's what will happen here.
I see.
As long as it's in the concrete, there's no problem with it.
Okay.
But if you start chipping or drilling or anything like that, it can become an issue.
Okay.
So that's just
Shouldn't
something
do that.
safe practice to keep in mind.
Okay.
But on the bright side, it's one of the strongest concrete slabs that you could possibly make.
Oh.
It just does not move.
Okay.
Especially in the soil out here, because we have a pretty expansive soil out here. You know, a lot of Orange County does, because a lot of Orange County was built on swamplands and old dairy farms and stuff like that. So you got all this alkaline and clay and stuff like that, and it creates an expansive soil. So this is one of the best slabs you can have on that ever.
Very cool.
It's awesome. Okay, now.
Go through the front door?
Let's go through the front.
You okay walking through here?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can walk by.
Sorry, I'm just blocking it for you.
Thanks.
Oh, slippery.
Now, quick question. We always run into the problem with ants in Irvine, obviously.
Okay.
People say it's going to ant hill. How's this area? Have you guys
Yeah, we still get a lot of the black ants.
Still do.
We'll still get a trail of them. I haven't seen that many of them though. It hasn't been too crazy.
Okay.
And I mean, as you can see, we keep a pretty clean house.
Yeah.
But yeah, in a couple of situations, on a couple of houses where I didn't catch the guys eating lunch in the house.
Okay.
You know, I'm a fanatic about that. I don't like it. So sometimes I have to catch them, but sometimes I miss them. So they'll leave a piece of food or something in there, and I'll get a trail of ants after it.
Well, in general, how often do you guys like maybe dig up ant like a nest?
Oh, nothing like that at all.
Okay.
I haven't had any problems with that at all. About the worst case scenario is if I get a lot of rain or something. Like this last one doesn't count because it only rained for a day.
Yeah.
But the ones that we got hit in December, you start seeing the trail of black ants come in.
Okay.
You know, because they're trying to escape the water. But as far as ant hills or anything like that, haven't had any issues.
I see.
And then Shane, you know, he also he does a pest control on the house before you guys take possession of it too.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
you know. Careful now, we're down here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go this way.
Okay.
So it's not leaking in here. So what we're doing, all these marks right here, what we're doing is we're just identifying where everything is when we hang drywall, because they are going to cover things. They do it every house. I've yet to have a house where they haven't covered anything.
Okay.
They always will hang the board, and all of a sudden I got a buried can light there. So I do this so we can come back and we can find them easier.
Okay.
So if you happen to be visiting your house or something like that, you know, I like to think we're perfect, but I can guarantee you we're not.
There's always something.
There's always something. So the thing is what people don't totally understand is a house is still products. This fully handcrafted. I mean, if you think about it, yeah, we use a lot of machines and stuff like that, but it's still somebody making that, handcrafting it, right? Even with the saw, but there's still thousands of hands on this house.
Right.
It's not like a factory making a car where they stamp out the parts and it's boom, 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 boom.
Right.
So let's say we had the same house, right? Identical to your next door neighbor with all the same options. I will almost guarantee you, if you measure everything, I mean, maybe to the naked eye, it looks the same. But if you start measuring things and you start looking at things and walls and whatnot, it's unique. I guarantee you the house is unique. So always just try to think that way, your house is unique. Okay? It's like if I make two rocking chairs by the same person and you start comparing them, one of those rocking chairs is a slight difference to it. You know? So houses are kind of the same way. So with that being said, if you guys ever see, you know, you're visiting your house, and I encourage it, come by, take a look at your house. You're not supposed to, but, you know, you're supposed to check in with sales. They're supposed to escort you out. I know that's not even believable, though. I know everybody sneaks in on the weekends and stuff like that.
Take pictures.
Yeah, they're going to. I mean, you're excited, right? I would be the same way. So what I ask is try to come after work hours.
Okay.
You know, like after 3:30.
Okay.
That way, I know there's not any big machinery that's going to run into you or run you over, God forbid, right? And the other thing is try to, if you see something, just let the sales know, hey, I was checking this out, and you know, this didn't look right or something like that. Chances are I already know about it, but I could have missed something.
Good to know.
And I encourage, you know, I want your guys' feedback. Because my ultimate goal at the end is that you're happy with the house. And by your feedback, I'm going to achieve that for you. Okay, so if you see something that you don't think looks right, I may have an answer, I may not. I'll get it taken care of. Okay?
Perfect.
Okay, now what color did you want this painted, by the way? What option did you want?
Pink.
Pink? Okay, we'll make that pink for you. Now, you may have to hold your couch about here, though, because, you know, there's not much room in between them. Now, you see these big stacks of drywall? They're upstairs, too.
Oh, okay.
These big stacks. So these right here, what we do is we put these braces in because we want to, because that's really, really heavy, right? More weight than you'll ever put on it. So what we're doing is we're just protecting the framing while that's sitting there.
I see.
Because if that sits there for over a long period of time with it starts to sag. So that's why we do it. Just so the next little extra step that we go. So conservatory. Got your conservatory. This is a new type of glass. You know, it feels like air's coming through there, but it's not. It's
It's a force field.
Yeah, they always send out the wrong size glass. I always have to reorder the glass. So. But anyways, while we're talking about doors and windows, she's like, really?
Like, but it doesn't look
Yeah,
like
that's
there is
awfully
one.
clear. There's a mark there.
You gotta perfect your mind skills.
Yeah. So this is a dual pane glass on all these windows and doors. Now what that means is people think it's just 2 layers of glass and that's it, right? But dual pane glass is actually, there's more to it than that. Especially on these, we have these pretty upgraded. There's also a gas in between those 2 pieces of glass that helps insulate that window. All right, so if you ever get a crack, like, I don't know if you guys got kids or not, but if they bounce something on there, it may go pop.
Right.
It may actually make a popping sound when the glass cracks. That's because the gas just got released.
Okay.
That's what that is. But with that being said, the reason why we recommend don't put any tint on the windows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't want to do.
I was gonna do that first thing.
You don't want to do that. The reason why, because it can mess up the warranty of the windows.
Oh, okay.
Because of that gas that's inside here, right? It can heat up the window more than it's made to do,
I see.
and it can cause that glass to pop.
Even clear window.
Yeah, you don't want to put any kind of tinting on these. But do keep in mind, these already have a low E tint to them, built into the window.
It does?
Yeah. And they got it covered, so it's hard to see. Okay, here we go. They don't have this one covered yet. Perfect example. So stand here, look out here.
Yep.
Okay. See how nice and clear that is. Now see how this is darker?
Yeah, a little darker.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a low E. It's not a tint. It's actually built into the glass. It's called low E glass. And what the low E glass does is part of our energy efficiency that we put in all our homes here, right? What that is it blocks out UV rays. It helps block out UV rays is what it is.
Do you know how many
I don't. Yeah, you don't really need to. These are actually pretty good. Yeah. These do really good job.
She orders the 99.99% one.
He doesn't work that way. Okay.
So, but it's just, I mean, you could put the tint on. I'm just telling you, it's not a good idea.
Alright.
You
Is it
know,
only sliding or all the windows?
all the windows are like this. I just use this one right here because they don't have any of the plastic on the outside, and that way you can see the difference. You know, so it's already all set up for you pretty much.
You got the pendant light.
Yep.
Pendant light
Right there.
wire and
Wait, I'm kind of confused. The kitchen's this side.
This is the
I
kitchen,
was
yeah.
like, which side is it? Okay.
yeah, it's opposite from the model.
Yeah.
Yeah. The model was a reverse.
Yeah.
You got the standard floor plan. So while we're looking over here, let me show you this too. So again, you know, I'm going to continuously talk to you guys about energy efficiency and soundproofing, because we put a lot of money and time and effort into making that for your house, where a lot of other builders don't do what I'm gonna show you. So first of all, let's talk about this PEX piping right here. Okay, this is what actually runs your water. Okay, now back in the day they used to use copper. Okay, they ran copper, but as we all know, copper conducts energy like crazy. That's why they use it in batteries and all that other stuff, right? So what do you think heat and cold does with copper too? It conducts, they're both forms of energy, right? So copper's not a very good insulator, basically. So they came up with this stuff called PEX. It looks like plastic, but it's actually a high strength polymer.
Okay.
Okay, so what it does, it's a higher insulator, for one. So what needs to stay cold stays cold, hot stays hot. You know, now when I first came out with, noticed this stuff before I was with IP, I noticed that we started using that in the desert, out in Palm Springs and stuff like that, where you have some really extreme weathers, right? So that's when we started using that, and it works really good. That's when they really came out with this stuff. So IP, my company, has used it here in Orange County, which most people don't, you know? So it's actually a really good energy efficient way of running your water.
But it's not plastic.
It's not plastic. It's
Polymer.
high strength polymer. Yeah, it's got the same longevity and everything as copper.
Oh, wow.
But the two main good things about it is, like I said, it's
So
more
it's
energy
better.
efficient as
Right.
far as an insulator. Also, it's less likely to leak. And the reason why it's less likely to leak, well, look at the bend that I've done right here. See how this comes through? And then we can wrap it around like this and take it up to where we
Right.
need it.
Instead of
Okay,
like-
well with a copper,
You just have to
every
cut.
time you turned it, you would have to solder it.
Right.
Right? Well, solder is a leak point every single time. And during an earthquake or even a little tremor, right? Copper's rigid. So if your framing moves like this, so does your
You
copper.
might lose the one. Okay.
Yeah. And it's noisier,
Okay.
right? And this stuff's not. It's more flexible, it's not as noisy. So that's one of the good things about it. The number one drawback, the only drawback that I've ever found with this stuff, and I don't think we'll have a problem out here, but out there in Palm Springs areas and stuff like that, you had date farms. You were kind of more in the boondocks a little bit, and so you had all these date farms. Well, you'd get tree rats,
Oh,
and if they get up in your attic, they can chew on that real easy. They can
okay.
chew right through it. So that's the only crummy part about it.
We don't want
Most
any
people
pests.
that took care of their house didn't have a lot of rats coming in. Never was an issue, but I have heard of one or two horror stories where a rat would get in somebody's attic and they would bite right through. Because what happens is the first thing they try to do is poison them. Well, poison dehydrates the rat, so he instantly goes for the water, bam, to try to, get the poison off of him. So that, most guys that were out there, because they use this stuff so much and because of that reason, they didn't poison the rats, they trapped them and took them out. So that would be the only main drawback that I've ever found with it.
Okay.
Okay, now while we're also looking, see this guy right here? It's a magnet. Funny tape measure, got a magnet on the end of it. So anyways, this is cast iron right here. Okay?
wow.
Now, you'll see that if you look right here, because we don't have much of a choice, at some point we gotta make the transition. But you see this right here? This is what we call ABS. It's kind of a plastic too, or a polymer, right? It runs actually all through the slab and everything. It's real safe, but it's noisy. All right, so your plumbing upstairs. Have you ever been in a house where somebody flushes a toilet or runs a bathroom and you can hear water trickling down the wall? Okay, well, exactly. Well, that's the reason why you transition into this cast iron. Okay, so upstairs, you'll still see this stuff, right? And that's usually industry standard. But we transferred, and we came down, and all of a sudden we go to cast iron. That way you can deaden the sound of that water. It's another sound resistant thing that we're trying to implement to make your home better for you. And if you feel this stuff, you can knock on it if you like. This stuff is super sturdy. See?
These are the main
It's cast iron.
bathroom and shower.
Yeah, your bathroom and showers are up there, so feel that thing. This is actually old school. This is before the ABS came out. They always used to use cast iron. So they moved away from it because ABS was, well, quite frankly, cheaper. Right? So a lot of builders, they do their whole house in ABS. We still use this on our downstairs. So it makes it nice and quiet. All right? Any questions so far? Or?
No.
See this, more of that orange pipe right there. You see it, see this wall over here? See that orange pipe running up and down? So the framing members that are going across like this, we're gonna put dotty plates on there to protect it. But like I said, if you're hanging pictures or something right there, make sure that you're on framing.
Stud.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't hit in the center because you will puncture that.
Okay.
That's
If
a little
somehow
grammar, by the way.
someone does something, we know that it's leaking.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
The water's gonna come out.
It'll come shooting out at you.
Oh, okay. I thought it was shooting the wall.
It's a possibility, but there's so much pressure coming out of there, you're gonna definitely know. It'll probably be making a noise too.
Okay.
It'll sound like a wounded beast in there, let me tell you. All right, so you got your pantry here, another one of those strong walls. As you can see, nice and rigid. So what do you guys think so far?
Very interesting. It's good to see the
So
inside.
all this, that black big pipe up there, that's your AC, that's the duct work and everything, that feeds the AC to your house.
That water thing, I mean, when it's too hot, it will release some kind of thing, like this plastic dust, you know?
Oh.
But since it's not plastic, I guess not. No, I was just wondering, because when plastic, when it's hot water, plastic, it releases
Oh, but it's not really plastic, it's almost like space shuttle stuff. It's pretty amazing stuff. Yeah. Oh, the other drawback with that stuff too is UV rays damage it. Right, where it doesn't damage copper. But if I showed you like our pre-slabs over here, when we have it exposed before we get the house built around it, we wrap it and we cover it so sunlight doesn't directly hit it. Oh yeah, fades everything, does all that stuff. But no, I know somebody else just asked me that. I looked into it because they were saying, you know, you're not supposed to drink water out of the plastic bottle, all that stuff. Yeah, everybody kind of says that. But this is designed to run water. So it's not, you're not going to get toxic resins inside the water or anything like that. No, you're not going to get any toxic resins or anything in it. Like I said, we've been using it for probably about 5-6 years, and yeah, there's never been any issues with it at all like that. And if I actually found a piece down here, it's actually harder than it looks. It's not some soft little weird plastic. Yeah, squeeze on it. It's pretty stout stuff. It looks a lot weaker than it is. Yeah, see how hard that is? It's really thick stuff. You know, if I cut a piece off and showed it to you, the edges of it are like this thick all the way around.
We can see it right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, they got a sleeve over that one.
Oh.
See, but look how thick that is right there. And then you can feel that. It's like, it's pretty rigid stuff. Like I said, it's almost like space shuttle stuff, you know? So that's going to be an outlet once we get all your cabinets in here. You'll have an outlet on each side here.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, that may be for an option that you're getting here. Are you guys?
No.
I'm trying to. Oh, this is the 2 plan. That's for the dishwasher, probably.
Yeah, that's the way I want it.
Yeah, I think that's for the dishwasher. I got so many houses in my head. I got to remember how everything lays out. You know, I know this is like for the refrigerator and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, at any rate, so the box is recessed right here, right? You might want to watch yourself there.
Okay.
That's like the worst timing possible that they found this. So anyways, this right here is where your refrigerator will hook up to the water.
Okay.
Okay, now, if this, you know, these little hoses that come up through these refrigerators, they only have a certain life expectancy of a couple of years, really, you know, and after a while they wear out and you get a leak there, right? And then you got to replace the hose. Well, in an emergency situation, who's got time to pull out a big refrigerator to get to this shutoff back here? You know, you need to get the water off fast before it does any damage, right? So what we did is over there, you see that little green handle right there? That's going to be underneath your sink. Okay? That shuts this water off only. It's just a shut this off only.
Yeah, oh, hell.
You know? So that way you just go right under your sink, bam!
And I'll turn it off.
Yep, shut it off. Like that right there is in the off position.
Okay.
So anytime you got a vertical pipe like this, think of it like a valve, right?
Okay.
If the handle goes across like that, you're shutting off. If it's going with the pipe like this, it's on.
Okay.
And that holds true for gas, water, anything like that. Yeah, it's just a nice little safety thing. And that black hose they got right there, that's how they're testing it, and that's the reason why we have all this water right now. What they're doing is they're pumping the water back into the system, and they're making sure all this is filled with water, and they're testing it for leaks.
Yeah. Problem.
Because we do the reverse osmosis.
Oh, okay.
So
you guys do it.
yeah, it's not a problem.
Okay.
You know, you probably won't tie into this. Most likely going to tie over in this one.
I see. Okay.
You know, so yeah, because we install those all the time. So yeah, it's totally compatible. Because a lot of times you'll see that copper will get hooked up into this a little bit. You know, they'll use copper for a transition, like in some areas, but it's usually just the exposed. They just don't use it in the walls and stuff like that.
Okay.
So. Okay, let's step closer this way so we don't get hit here. Man, you got my homeowner wet, man.
It's all right.
He got water all over his head. They said they're not going to buy the house now. All right. So you guys said you had kids, right?
Yeah.
So here's the closet that you can stuff them in.
Yeah, there you called it.
You know, it's a dungeon. Put them in here. Just say, you know, if you're
Got
nice,
little beds.
if you're nice, there's a light switch here. You can turn it on for them. You know.
I know they
So
love this.
plenty of storage space all the way back in here, as you can see.
Yeah. Very cool.
This is going to be your walkway. Once we're done, we'll set this out so you have a walkway right there. Or did you want concrete? Can't totally take me serious. Come on now. All right, so here's one of your options right here. Got a ceiling, reinforced ceiling outlet right here for like a chandelier or fan or whatever you plan on doing there.
Yeah.
You know, as you can see, it'll hold quite a bit of weight. Look at that big bracket that's on there.
Oh, that was one of the options.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice metal hard bracket. That ain't going anywhere. That thing's strong.
I guess the main difference between just doing an outlet and a pre-wire for
Yeah.
the ceiling. Cause
I
it
didn't
has
know
that.
you had to have that, something like that for the lights.
Well, otherwise it's just hanging onto the drywall.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, you want something strong and sturdy there. So, you know. These are right here. Okay, these are going to be your smoke detectors.
Oh, okay.
So not only do they have they do have a battery in it that you'll have to replace like every 6 months or so, right? But as you can see, it's wired to the house too. The battery's a backup.
Oh.
Okay, but it's actually wired to the house, so it'll never not have juice,
Okay.
basically. So it's a nice safety feature. All right, right here again, there's that orange pipe I was telling you about up in the attic. Okay, that will be the fire sprinkler head right there. Okay, now that's obviously not the finished product. If you've been in the models, you'll see these little white caps that are like this. They're all through the ceiling. Okay, now we try to get those as tight to the drywall as possible, but there is going to be a little bit of a gap there because they have a gasket in them on purpose because they're not supposed to be tight to the drywall. Fire marshal has a fit with those. So they have a little gap because when it gets hot enough, the solder melts around that cap, the cap falls off and it allows the fire sprinkler head to drop.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's the principle behind it. Now, if you guys are, I haven't looked at, are you guys doing a custom color through us, paint color?
No,
or-
just standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down the road, you thinking about doing some custom painting
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
anything
we
like
are.
that? Okay. So when you do that though, do not paint the fire sprinkler caps.
Okay.
I mean, even if you paint that thing blue, your ceiling blue, you gotta leave those things white.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is the fire marshal is kind of crazy about these things, right? And for you guys, for me, it means I don't pass inspections if I get paint on them. For you guys, it's more of an insurance thing, right? If a fire happens in here, God forbid,
Okay.
they're going to be looking for things like that. Insurance companies
To
are
blame you.
exactly,
Oh, wow.
exactly.
That's
So you
interesting.
don't want to paint or get anything on those. You want to leave them white. You know, they're pretty adamant about that. If I get a drop of paint on them, I fail my inspection.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm not even kidding you. If I have drywall, let's say it's white drywall, if I get white drywall on it, he fails me.
Wow.
Yeah, they're really, really adamant about it. You know, so yeah, definitely.
Testing out the shower.
Yeah, so this right here is what you never see, okay? Because that's going to be covered with tile and everything by the time you get there.
Okay.
Okay, so what we do is on the walls and all this right here, it's going to be paper like this. Okay, because we do the lath and all that because we have to put stucco on there to give the tile something to stick to, right? But down here, because this could potentially hold a lot of water,
Okay.
you know, this is called a shower pane. Okay, so it's done with like this with this kind of a like a tar, if you will, right? They tar all this in so this can hold water for long periods of time. Your walls, they're not made to hold water for a long period of time. It's made to divert the water down into here, right? So what we do is we fill this up, and he's going to even fill this up more. He'll bring it pretty much right up to the thing, and then we're going to let it sit for a few days.
And see if it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then when we don't have all this water out here, if we do have a leak, we'll see it,
Oh.
and then we'll know. Now, by the time you guys get to the house, you're going to have tile in here. Just remember, tile doesn't waterproof anything. Tile's just decorative. There's nothing waterproof about it at all.
Oh, so it's everything underneath that.
Everything underneath. And that holds true for this exterior of the house. Stucco and all that doesn't waterproof anything. Stucco's nothing but a big sponge.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
You know, it's nothing but a big sponge. It stops absolutely no water whatsoever. The black paper underneath there, that's what stops your water.
Oh, wow.
And there's a science to putting it together because that black paper is not waterproof. Water will seep through it over time. If you get like we were talking earlier about a slow, steady rain, water is going to get through that paper. But the way it's lapped, it not only it's water resistant, not waterproof, but the way it's applied, it directs the water away from your house. Is the whole concept behind it. So I'm going to kind of show you over here, if you will. And we're going to look at one of these bigger walls where I can actually. So inside, it creates these pockets. Okay, you see how the paper's like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the outside, your lap is just the opposite. The lap is underneath here. Okay, so think of it like duck's feathers, right? Like a duck's butt or whatever. You know, the water sheds off of them. It streamlines them, right? So the water sheds this way. So while it's lapped on the other side the other way, it keeps the water, you know, from catching on the outside. It sheds it. But over time, water will start to beat up in here. Okay? And when water gets in right here, it's okay. Because the reason why it's lapped like this, because it catches the water and then it pulls it back out. So the lap is the opposite down here. So it comes in and then it goes like this. The water comes in and then it pulls the water out like this. And then and an exaggerated example, because we're talking millimeters here, in an exaggerated example, the water comes in like this, it does this. And it keeps pulling the water out until it hits that screen that I was showing you guys outside.
Yeah.
And then it hits that, and then that channels the water completely out. So that's how it works. And the cool thing about my company is because we do know that this does, you know, matter a lot. I mean, it's most companies will only do one layer of this paper. Okay, we have 2 layers. So we doubled up the protection that you have. So chances of water even really getting in here is slim. But I just like the people to know about the technology that actually happens with that stuff. And so your shower will be very similar to the same length. Oh, there's more of that text pipe paper, see? There you go. Yeah, you can't even bend it, so it's pretty cool stuff actually. All right, so another energy efficient thing that we do, we go through and we seal up everything. You know, I mean, granted, we're not building a submarine, so there's going to be spots that we miss. But as you can see, we go through a pretty extensive process to try to seal everything up. And what this does, this adds to your insulation value. Ooh, yuck. Don't touch that again. They got me. So anyways, this foam right here, I'll just grab this piece right here. So we spray this in a lot of the grooves and the cracks and all the little holes, and it serves its two purposes basically. What this does is, for one, we're trying to fireproof your house the best we can, right? What it does is it air tightens the holes, right? So that way, if a fire, let's say a fire starts in this wall right here, okay? We don't want that going up into your attic, okay? So while this stuff isn't fireproof, what we're hoping it'll do, smother it. So it's stuck in this wall, it dies out before it goes anywhere. So that's the general idea. Plus we're using it to make sure that we give you the absolute most insulated house possible. Because I actually have a test guy that comes into this house and he does a negative air pressure in the house and he tries to pull air. Like he'll seal up everything, tries to pull air from the outside in. Okay, does a negative air pressure test, right? Well, based on his readings, he's going to get some air in, and you have to, otherwise you suffocate because it would be a safe, right? But he's going to get some air in. So, but basically what he's doing is that's how he can test how well insulated the house is, because based on his numbers, and then he'll give me a certificate for that. You know, so you guys can be pretty well assured this is going to be a very insulated, good energy efficient house.
Very cool.
And then why I'm talking about energy efficiency, all this tinfoil looking stuff here on the back side of this plywood right here, the wood, see how it's all shiny and got this tinfoil? That's a radiant barrier. And again, that's something else that I did out in the desert.
Okay.
You know, they kind of made it out there. What it does is on your attics, so we'll do it on this is called a gable right here, right? So we do it on that, and then the plywood that we use to build the roof with has it on the back side of the plywood.
Oh, okay.
And again, Irvine Pacific's one of the only people that I know that uses it out here in Orange County. I saw it a lot in the desert. And what it does is it, well, just like it sounds, a radiant barrier. It protects from the solar energy and UV rays. It tries to reflect some of that away from the house, right?
It's not so.
Right, and what it does, it probably only makes the attic about 5 degrees cooler. But 5 degrees difference. But 5 degrees in the attic is like 10 degrees in the house.
Oh,
So it transfers down. Because once you calculate that up with the insulation and everything that we're gonna do in here,
Right.
it'll make like, it'll
keep the temperature
like 10 by
more.
10%, yeah. It's a pretty significant number when you calculate it all the way through. All right. Any questions so far, or am I moving at an okay pace for you?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Pretty cool.
Pretty interesting stuff in the walls, huh?
Yeah.
Even to that point.
Never knew there's so much science behind it.
Oh, there's a ton of science behind all of this. Oh, that was another thing I forgot to point out to you. In your living room right here, okay, we have this right here. Now there's an outlet here and there's an outlet below. So basically what we did here is that way you can put your components and everything down in there, and then you can feed your wires up, and this is your outlet for your TV.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's going to be sunk in to the wall. So it's called a clock outlet. So that way it's sunk in, and you don't have anything pushing your TV out away from the wall, because who doesn't have a flat screen today? Almost everybody does, right? Everybody wants a flat screen now. So this way you can hang your flat screen here if you like, and you can just, you don't have to have any wires on your walls. You can just feed it right up through this tube right here. And as you can see, there's plenty of room in there.
Okay.
Yep. And we even have a little pull string in there
Oh, wow.
that we put in there for you.
We do.
Drop that back in there. That way you can grab your wires and right up through.
Is this the temporary, or is it the base of the
No,
actual
no.
building?
We were just going to paint this. If I clean it up a little bit, I can stain
You
it.
gotta sand it down a little bit, right?
Yeah, this is just for my safety of my workers.
Okay.
So yeah, what we'll do.
It's not
is,
the core of the.
No,
okay.
no, not on this one. No, but we do put steel posts in. I don't think they've done it to phase 5 yet.
Okay.
And this house may not need it because we have walls here that
Okay.
we can use. But in many instances, what we
Whereas-
do is we do have some steel It goes
I
here.
see.
You won't have anything over there. It's just on this side. I believe it goes around like this.
Okay.
Actually, no, it does go there. So anyways, we have the wall here that they can lag into. But you know, this is just OSHA. I gotta have this for OSHA. In case
Okay.
guys slip or something like that. You can keep it if you want. I'll throw it in.
It's the
How's
rustic. It's the rustic
Yeah, I'll
look,
just throw
right?
it in at no cost.
There
How's
you
that?
go.
So this is that ABS that I was talking about. See, that's what we use upstairs. But upstairs doesn't matter because
The
you
sound.
don't have water over your head here.
Yeah.
You know, so. So this is the loft, obviously. Got the can lights in here. This right here, this is for your air conditioning line. This feeds from the unit down to your unit outside.
Oh, okay.
It's copper and it's all insulated to try to protect that. That's what this is. The line's only about this big actually, but we have this big wrap around it because that's really cold stuff. It's Freon in it, so we're trying to, you know, otherwise your machine would be working overtime trying to keep things cool with this pipe, because this is still made out of copper, as you can see. Some of these are still made out of copper. If I open this up, and it's not a problem, you can open it up. See, it's still made out of a copper, right? So this is what you got to do with copper in order to insulate it. But you can't use PEX piping with Freon, so it has to be copper. Because if you get that stuff, if you pump Freon through that PEX piping, it would get brittle and crack. Because it's too cold. It's like below 0 degrees or whatever it is.
I think we added a TV outlet. Oh, that says right there.
Yeah, that's probably why he's got this here. So it looks like he probably missed it. So we will find out what's going on with that.
Oh, this is a loft.
Yeah.
The TV.
Yeah, that looks like what he was
Yeah, he
right
was saying,
there.
yeah.
So I think my quality guy is still coming through. But again, things like that, you guys visit and you're checking out your house and you think, hey, there's supposed to be something here. Like I said, I may know about it, I may not. You know, I mean, you look at all this stuff that we're managing, something like this can easily slip by me.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want is to go, okay, your house is ready, and then I miss something.
Yeah, cut open
Because
the
that just
drywall.
bugs me. I mean, I want the house complete for you guys. So, you know, I'm definitely not perfect. You see something that concerns you, let me know. You can just tell the sales team, they'll email me, boom, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
All right.
So is this something we should tell the sales team?
No, because I do know about
Okay.
it.
All right.
But so a situation like that where I do know about it, because the options with the electrician,
Okay.
I told him about them. Because there was a couple other things that it looks like he fixed them already. I had some other things missing. So, but it may be something as simple, my response when you tell the sales team, I am aware of it, you know, we're
Okay.
going to be taking care of it. Thank you for letting me know.
Okay.
Or didn't notice it, you know, something, because sometimes these windows get broke, you know, believe it or not. Matter of fact, got one right there. Perfect. Your house. Look at that window. Somebody broke it. Yeah, I remember that being broken. Somebody broke it. So,
Somebody wrote it or like the wind?
well, it's probably an accident.
Oh.
Dropped it.
It's probably an accident. They're probably setting this scaffolding, or somebody dropped something on it. But the problem is, you would think these guys would come up and say, "Hey, man, I accidentally broke the window." They don't. Oh God, I gotta get out of here before somebody notices me. You know, because they don't want to be charged for it. You know, so they're like, "Oh God, I don't want to get in trouble," and they take
Wasn't me.
off. So I never know who does it. But I have a budget for. They call it vandalism, even though it might have been an accident. It's called a vandalism budget for replacing stuff like that. So I did notice this the other day, and so I'm gonna get that replaced, and that's the reason why it's out of the window. But things like that happen. I mean, even further down the road. I mean, I have houses that are done, flooring's in, all that, and all of a sudden I got a cracked window or a broken window because somebody hit it or tried to open it because I don't give them the handles to the windows because I don't want them opening it. So they take something, they try to open it, and they break it. You know. So you'd be surprised. It's like school. It's like grade school, man. You got to stay on top of these guys. Let me tell you. So at any rate, you see something, just let me know.
Sure.
I would definitely, you know, I may know about it, I may not, you know.
Okay. That's good to know, though.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm here to work with you, not against you, believe me. You know. Okay, so this is our dryer vent right here. So we did some pretty cool things with this. So at the finish, you're gonna notice that all we're gonna have across here is drywall. We're gonna stop your baseboard right here on each side of it. And the reason why is, see how low this is. Your baseboard is actually taller than this. Your baseboard is gonna sit up to here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna stop it here. But the reason why we do this, we think that you're never gonna see the baseboard, so it's not a problem if we do the transition here. You'll never see that, right? You're gonna have your washer and dryer here. But what's better is to have this nice and low like this, so now your dryer pipe can go right up inside here.
Okay.
Now you can get your dryer all the way against the wall.
Okay.
Okay, it's recessed. You ever have those homes where you got the washer and the dryer and they're sitting like this?
Yeah,
Because you can't get the dryer pushed all the way
Right,
back.
right.
Well, this helps take care of that. And the reason why it's low
okay.
is most dryers are low. The vent's low right here, and the gas is low. So it
gotta-
allows you to push it up against the wall.
We gotta flip our
Yeah, we had to flip.
dryer door
What's
because it opens this way.
Oh, you got one of those reversible
Our
doors?
dryers.
Well, we just did it in our old house. What do we do? Like, we open it like this.
No, our old house, our dryer was on this side, the washer on this side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now it's flipped. So we gotta flip the door somehow.
I think most of them come with the ability to flip the doors.
I remember when we bought them, they said they asked us which side would they want the door. We wanted a door on. So I'm sure there's a way.
Now you got to bust out the manuals.
Yeah.
And look it up, figure out how to do it, right?
Lovely.
So remember that line I was showing you for your water softener? It's
Okay.
right there. Drains into here. This is
Oh.
where your washing machine's going to drain too.
Okay.
So it's already set up for that. Your guy can make up whatever he needs to make up, make sure that drains, and it's set. That way you don't have to cut all that drywall all the way back
Oh, that's
down.
interesting. It comes all the way up here to drain. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the first thing he said.
Because
He said
you
it's
don't
up-
want it going anywhere like outside or anything like that, because the main thing is see, like even when we do your landscaping, we won't tie your landscaping directly in with your house water.
Okay.
Okay, you don't want to do that with a water softener. If you're not putting a water softener in, it's not a problem.
Okay.
But with a water softener, it's got like minerals and stuff in it,
Right.
And if it's connected
To the outside.
with your irrigation water,
Right.
it'll kill your plants.
Oh, it'll kill the plant.
Oh, it'll kill them.
No minimum.
It's like salt to them. They just wither up. They're done. It's got like a charcoal filter and all that stuff that it does. It puts a mineral in there that's toxic to plants. So when Shane walks you through, he'll show you where your landscape shutoff is, because your landscape water is like the fire sprinkler.
Okay.
It bypasses your house water too, that feeds into the house.
Pretty cool.
And it all ties back into by the curb. But when I say your house water, I'm talking about your line at your garage. That's the separation point. As long as we bypass that, it's considered separated from the house, but not the property. All right?
Interesting. Wow, that area looks good.
Oh, I don't know. Let's go this way, shall we? So what do you guys think of these cubby holes that we do?
Oh, they're cool.
You like them? They
Yeah.
it gives you maximum space, because, we came up with that because, let's face it, with your shelf and your poles out here, you can use
can't
that little
reach it,
space
yeah.
up in between there.
Right.
So at least here you can get up in here.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of nice.
More
I was gonna
accessible.
say that it's nice that it's the standard thing, because I haven't seen it in any other new homes that we visited. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not one of
Yeah, it's kind of a cool feature. I mean,
Yeah.
we used to just do it as an option, and then they said, people are going to really want that, so they just
Yeah.
put it in with the house now. So it's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, it is.
Again, another option there with your reinforced ceiling outlet there.
Chandeliers. This one is this is Annabelle's room.
Annabelle's room.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's our daughter's room.
Oh, okay. Frozen?
For-
Yep, see? I got nieces. I don't have any kids, but I got nieces.
Yeah.
Yep, gotta paint it like Frozen, right?
hope not.
Gotta be blue, some kind of blue
Some kind of
scheme
blue.
or something. Yeah. So here's just kind of to touch base on our quality and everything that we do. Above and beyond what we're required to do with the city, we have 18 separate inspections that we pay for on a house.
Okay.
Basically, they're going, okay, 18 inspections, that's 18 times to tell Troy how he's building it wrong.
Wow,
So
that's-
basically, it's just not me looking at it. I mean, again, I'm building all this at one time. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So I actually do appreciate the fact that you guys walk the house, because sometimes they catch the little things that I miss. Because you're gonna remember, we start like this when we first start a house, and hopefully by the time we get to then, we're doing this, right? So by having other people walk behind me, it's actually a benefit to me, because that means that it's less likely for us to miss something, unless, yeah, at the end for you guys, you know? So we have companies that we hire outside the city and stuff like that, that we have walk the house and double check us and make sure that we're building everything from the roof to that lath paper to the structural walks. That's the reason why I have this written right here.
Okay.
That way they were saying, hey, let's put a piece of flat stock there so our drywall has something to nail to. You know, otherwise we might have missed this, and then you got a piece of drywall that goes, right? So that's how critical we are. You know, and that's, again, that's not something the city's requiring us to do. That's something we do above and beyond. And then you add the city inspections on top of that, we do a pretty solid house. So all this stuff right here, again, this is big backing and everything that we're doing, because once we build this deck, okay, first of all, you're gonna get shutters right here, if I'm not mistaken. No, there's no shutters here. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of a different house. This is actually done for his transition, for the siding that he's doing right here. All this siding,
Okay.
give him something solid. The showers, I mean, this is just one piece. It's a plastic basically, or
Right.
I don't know exactly what it's made out of, but it's like a plastic. So then what we do is we lath this down and we come up over this lip right here. So the lath ends right there. That way your tile comes all the way down and just comes right on up. So we'll get this all nice and sealed. And yes, these things get scratched and beat up, okay, nonstop. I mean, because you have to bring them in so early to get them to set so you can do your plumbing, right? Well, then you got guys working over it, they drop things. We try to put this on here to prevent the scratches, but it comes with a complete touch-up at the end. So they come and they buff it and they polish it, and it'll look beautiful when it's done. So you may see some chips and stuff on here. Well, for example, right here. See, it's already got some chips and stuff on it. But that part right there, you never see. That gets sealed anyways. Yeah, because your lath paper and your drywall and everything comes over the top of it. So you'll never see that. But you'll get stuff like this on the field out here. And yeah, because these, why they're sensitive to damage, because they are kind of a plastic, they can actually do some really cool fixes on them too. I mean, the only time it's a problem is because this is all a big coating over a fiber mesh.
Okay.
The fiber mesh is what's waterproofs it, right? This right here, this is just a baked enamel is all it is. So as long as it's only the baked enamel getting damaged, they buff it up, polish it up, it looks beautiful, and it's lifelong. You'll never have a problem with it. This right here, you may get, from time to time, you're gonna get a gurgling noise from right here. What that is that's your condensate line for
Okay.
your AC.
Okay.
Oh, like
Alright.
the apartment.
Yeah.
So it comes down, it drains in your sink,
Okay.
and when you're running your AC a lot, you may hear this.
We know it's not haunted.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
thought
it's
it
not
was
haunted.
haunted.
I promise it's
thought
not
it was
haunted.
haunted.
But it will make a gurgling noise.
Only with the AC.
Yeah, it's for the condensation.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm going to show you some of the cool features on our way back down on what we do here. So what we're trying to do with this floor is, see, we do a couple cool things to this to try to eliminate those floor squeaks. Still happens,
Yeah.
you know, but usually when I hand it over to the customer, there's no floor squeaks. So what we do is if you look at these are kind of funky here. So these are nails right here, but you'll see in some of these areas, if I can find one here, because they get kind of buried. It's usually in the field. Anyways, I can't see them right now. They got them buried. So they're screws. Ah, there's one. There's one sticking up right here.
Okay.
Okay. So these are screws. Now, now I can see them all. There they are, right there. It's just hard to see because of the water. But so on the outside, they'll use just the nails and stuff like that. But the main body where the squeaks are most likely to happen, they use these screws right here, the big long screws, to try to prevent that squeaking, that floor squeaking. Because usually what a floor squeak is, it's usually a loose nail or something like that. The wood, because what happens is wood tends to do this in the middle. Right, and that's the reason why the outsides aren't as important where we use nails there. But in the middle, wood tends to do this. Okay, over time it buckles.
Oh, that's why old houses.
Yeah, sometimes it will. Yeah, because wood's going to constantly move. It may buckle and it may go back down. It's just the nature of the beast. Right, wood moves and it creaks and it does all this other stuff. So at any rate, what it does is when it does that and you have a nail right there, it's usually the nail rubbing on the wood that causes the squeak. So we try to use these big long screws, and that way, even if the floor does this a little bit, it prevents it from doing it.
Keep it.
Yeah, it keeps it pinned down a little bit more, and that way you don't get that metal rubbing on wood squeak type thing going on. Another reinforced ceiling outlet right there. Just lost my tape measure. Okay, this is where your thermal mixing valve will go. What a thermal mixing valve will do when you move into the house, don't expect anything miraculous. When you go to turn on the water, right, you're not going to get instant hot water out of this bathtub. Okay, it's going to gradually warm up. It's not going to let you get it really, really hot. You're not going to be able to run it to like the full temperature, and that's because of this guy here. We're going to put a thermal mixing valve. Unfortunately, it's code, and I know people are like, oh man, I crank that thing. I want that water to get hot, so
I do that.
Yeah, the only way you can do it is by taking this out. But again, it's code, and the reason why is because you're reaching over it, and they don't want a kid to get burned.
Sure.
That's the whole thing. Because if you hit this, whatever, you bump it, and you turn that thing on full blast, right, and then all of a sudden the water comes out real quick, full blowing hot, kids can get scalded. So they try to think of everything that it's the government. They protect us from ourselves. You don't know that? They always got to protect us from ourselves.
Interesting.
All right, so this right here is the master closet. Now, my only question is, what closet are you getting?
I'm not.
It's not going to be this one. I can
I got a
guarantee
little
you.
luggage on the
She
side
kicked
of the
me
bed.
out of here. My wife kicked me out of here in a heartbeat. So plenty of space. Again, if you plan on doing some organizers or something like that, I don't think we have any organizers for you. I think we're doing the shelf and bowl in here. So we'll watch all this, but if later on down the road, again, you want to watch this.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we're trying to protect it at the points where we're going to put a nail or something.
Okay.
Okay? But again, nothing I can do about this section.
Yeah, most likely we will ask the show.
Yeah. I mean, most people will, so
Yeah.
just something to be aware of.
3 of them. Careful.
This right here, this is the brains of the house. This is your audio video hub. So basically, everything comes in from the street to your big panel down there, okay? And then from that panel, it comes up to here. Now this guy right here, it feeds it to all the rooms and everything in the house. All your audio video. So depending on whether you're getting satellite, Cox, Time Warner, whoever it is, right, AT&T, they're gonna need to know where this is. So you'll have to bring them up here, show them here. And what it is, it's got all the gizmos and gadgets, and it's all labeled for which rooms it goes to and all that. So it's basically like an operator switchboard. Back in the like 1920s or something. And all these blue and white wires that we got running here, all that feeds
All the data.
to this. At some point or another, it will all come back towards that.
Weapon. Toilet.
Yep, you got to get water to that,
Shower pan.
No outhouses. We don't build outhouses in houses anymore. Running water only. Only the best for you.
Might be coming back in, right? It's a retro trend.